This next song is a dance tune. Called Dance is Necessary.
Wow. My name is Elise Singer, and I am the producer of tonight's Edwin Booth Award. I'm so delighted to welcome you to the 2017 Edwin Booth Award honoring Taylor Mack. I'm just going to speak so quickly, so briefly. A couple very special thanks that have to be said right at the outset. I want to thank everybody at the Martin E. Segal Theater Center and Graduate Center Public Programs for making this possible in the Pershansky Auditorium. I want to thank everybody from the Doctoral Theatre Students Association. This is a DTSA event. And normally it's held in the Segal Center, which only seats 70 people, but we wanted to go big and go fabulous, and so we're here in the Pershansky. And we also want to thank the Doctoral Students Council for their support, and two very special professors in our program who gave generously. That's the Honorable Marvin Carlson. Where's Marvin? There's Marvin, thank you. And David Savrin, also. It's wonderful, so we're very grateful for their support. And everybody on the Edwin Booth Committee. And I just want to say one or two things. The thing that's special, there are a couple things that are very special about this award. First of all, the honoree is nominated and voted on by the members of the DTSA. So it's an all-student nominated and produced event, which is unusual. And the other thing that's really special is that the goal of this event is to have a blending of the professional theater and performance community with the academic and scholarly community. And you're going to see that tonight on this stage, where you're going to see amazing performers from Taylor's world and from the GC community. The other thing that makes this event special is that the honoree helps to determine the form of the event. And when Taylor and I started talking about this, Taylor's idea was that it should feel like a salon of Taylor's favorite people, and an opportunity to invite the public into that process. So that's our goal tonight, is to invite the public into this intimate salon. It's gonna get very intimate at some points, you might imagine. And without further ado, I'm going to turn the microphone and the stage over to the wonderful Mr. Salty Brine.
You're so beautiful. Hello and welcome to Edwin Booth Award. Taylor Mack. Look at you. Honey, you're showing me up with costume. I just wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to wear this jacket, which I never get to do. There's so rare occasions that I can put it on, of course, the shoes I wear at records, but what a privilege to be here. Now, how's that? Oh! Listen. All right, so here we all are. I just wanted to say very briefly, I met Taylor working on Judy's play. Judy is Taylor's preferred pronoun, if you didn't know that. Yes? Well, actually, Judy said, I can use any pronoun I want. And so I will. Judy wrote this play called The Lily's Revenge, which was this 5-hour, this 5-hour epic play. I thought, oh my God, 5 hours, never in the history of theater will there ever be a play as long as this play. And then, But I was in this play, and I played a giant tick in the play. Machine Dazzle made this huge costume for me. I was a puppet. It was a little tiny part. I loved it. And this thing happened to me in this play, which is that I was enveloped in this community of performers. It's something that if you know Taylor, you know Taylor's work, it's all about community. I mean, that's one of the chief principles of what he does. And I was folded into this community. To this day, these people are my family. And what we do as artists, in the theater, is we create families very quickly. Because on the first day of rehearsal, you may be making out with a stranger. So you have to become very close very quickly. And then we come out on stage, and we have to make a big family with the audience right away. Yes? So, would you be willing to become a family tonight for Taylor? Marvelous. Marvelous. All right, so let's get started right away then. Now, I have to bring out a member of Taylor's family, and we all sort of wish she hadn't shown up. But she did. We're having a little bit of trouble in the dressing room with her, and it's fine, but Taylor insisted, so we fished her out of the gutter, brought her to this beautiful theater, it's not appropriate. But I just bear in mind, as you're watching this next performance, ladies and gentlemen, that one man's trash is another man's treasure. Please put your hands together for Tawny the Tigress!
It's hard. Good evening, goddamn monkey! Get off my back! I'll spank you later. Oh, you get that? Good evening, all you gorgeous brothers. Welcome to Edwin Booth Awards. Where is she? Booth. Edwina? Edwina, stand up, darling. Seriously? Oh my fucking God. Salty, the diva cunt didn't show up for her own goddamn award.
Darling, no, it's Taylor. It's for Taylor,
hey,
darling.
Taylor! Hey, girl! Hey! Look, you know what? Edwina Booth, she's dead to me. I don't put up with that shit. So, hey, Taylor, you look so pretty. Would you mind, kind of an understudy proxy? Would you accept for Edwina? Would that be all right? Kind of Sachin Littlefeather to, Bitch Booth Marlin? Yeah? Beautiful. Great. Okay, so it's good. This show will go on. All right. Got it, all you gorgeous perverts. I'm Tawny the Tigress. Oh, fuck it. You're too young or too clean cut to remember, but I was a star. Back in the golden age of Times Square sleaze, back when the West Side Highway was more jungle than gyms. Hey, back then we didn't need big silicone tits or a nose job or personal trainer, youth or beauty or talent. Hell, half the time you didn't need a close shave or a real pussy. Know what I mean? Well, I thought you might. But nowadays, you gotta look a little harder to find a real down and dirty, filthy, sleazy strip joint, don't ya? I said, don't ya? Thank you. And what do? You gotta pay 10 times as much, and for what? For some surgically enhanced teenage Barbie doll jiggling around a Katy Perry. But you know the difference between us and them? I mean, besides the youth and the beauty and the talent and all right, and the pussy. Sometimes, watch it, mister. The difference is we liked you. We really liked you. raincoat what he used. Sure, we were cheap. We were cheap. So you could be too. And that song is for you. Hit it! Crank it!
I who have nothing, I who have no one, adore you and want you so. I'm just a no one with nothing to give you but all. I love you. He buys your diamonds, bright, sparkling diamonds. But believe me, dear, when I say that he can give you the world, but he'll never love you the way I love you. He can take you any place he wants, to fancy clubs and restaurants. But I can only watch you with my nose pressed up against the window pane. I who have nothing, I who have no one, must watch you go dancing by, wrapped in the arms of somebody else, when darling it's I who loves you. I love you. I love you.
Tony the Tigress! Yes, Tony. Yes. Oh, and this is my mic. Is my mic on? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh my God. And this is Ashley, ladies and gentlemen. She's level 1 here, which but I don't know. You're moving up a couple levels tonight, honey. I'll work it. Work. Oh my God. So good. Thank you. Yes. Oh, you've worked up a whole little act, have you? She's the scene stealer. I teach that down at NYU. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Ashley. You're gorgeous. I'm so excited to bring this next person up on stage. Truly, I'm so excited. He is a pianist, a songwriter, he's an arranger, a music director, and he just recently, along with Taylor Mack, won the 2017 Kennedy Prize for Drama. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Ray.
Well, what a treat to follow Tigger. How about that, huh? Let me tell you, I've seen Tigger's behind the curtain, I should say, warm-ups many times. Lengthening exercises, etc., etc. It's quite a lovely treat when you're doing a show like The Lily's Revenge that's 5 hours long to have that view where you're looking at the curtain and Tigger's playing a curtain and Tigger's face is in the curtain and the rest of Tigger is behind the curtain, so I could see everything. And speaking of curtains, how about that for a segue? I'm really blessed to have met Taylor Mack, like many of us actually, doing the Lily's Revenge, which I thought would be the longest thing I'd ever done, but didn't turn out to be. And the opening number from that show was this. The great longing, my deity, 'tis built with odes and bonhomie, stitched with a violin, patched by our dreams, then dipped and cleaned in sentimental streams. To nourish thee we muse, and sing our soft bassoons, and in our hazy humid hues there will breach a kind and dulcet ruse. My deity that brings the gallantry, remembering remembered memory. Oh, the great longing, my deity, envelops sighs, caress ennui, awake sweet God of ache and wistful Lord, come wrap us in nostalgia's paramour. The great longing, my deity, my deity, my deity, oh yes. We pledge to thee our life, in reverie we're caught, just like the birds and butterflies that long for song in cloudless skies, but trapped by fingers drenched with drip, they flutter, flop, they flip and rip. Soon are we become the story old. Pray hold us evermore in story told. please, my deity. Oh, please, oh, deity. Oh, please, oh, deity. My deity, my deity. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Love you, Taylor.
Matt Ray! Oh, the marvelous Matt Ray. Oh my God, can you just, watching his fingers, do you know what I mean? Oh, well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to bring up our first real speaker of the evening. Yes, and he's written a book. I intend to write a book one day, we'll see. Maybe about tonight. Well, if something goes down, which Tawny's here, he's got a book coming out next month about the amazing theater maker Charles Ludlam and his queer legacy, which of course includes Taylor Mack. Yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sean Edgecombe.
Good evening. It's such an honor to be here tonight, so thank you. Taylor Mack, actor, singer, playwright, artist, medium, goddess, dreamer, enfant terrible, fool. Taylor Mack is utterly ridiculous. Of the ridiculous theatrical tradition, that is. The ridiculous theater genre and aesthetic, originated by Jack Smith, Ronald Tavel, and John Vaccaro, and, in my humble opinion, perfected by Charles Ludlam, mixes high literary culture and low pop references with clowning and drag and camp into a glittering pastiche. In fragmenting, inverting, and subverting history and the world around itself, the ridiculous may be considered the seminal and original queer American theater. In his performances, as heir of this distinct theatrical tradition, Taylor is consciously haunted by the ghosts of his forebears. But rather than a performer possessed, as Judy, his gender pronoun in performance, Taylor acts as a medium to these spirits. In all of his performances, he resurrects and transforms through a drag aesthetic and camp sensibility. If the ridiculous legacy is what Taylor drags behind himself as a connection to the past, the acknowledgement of this trailing history allows Taylor, as Judy, to cut the ties, creating a glorious momentum that propels Judy forward and into new and distinct manifestations of queer performance. In thinking about camp, perhaps the best way to express Taylor's approach is as an outsider's view of things, a linking of the past and the present and the future awash in sequins. After growing up in suburban and homogeneous Stockton, California, which haunts much of his work, Taylor moved to San Francisco out of high school before relocating to New York City in 1994 to attend the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Much like his predecessor, Ludlam, Taylor trained in the great traditions of the theater, honing his skills as an actor and as a playwright and as an activist. His early solo performances took place in sacred spaces, like the basement of the Slide Bar in the East Village. It was through these plays, which are too numerous for me to list tonight, that Taylor developed his signature character, a stage-worthy representation of himself, and what Serena Davies of The Telegraph deemed a Pierrot figure for the modern age. No matter the play or the character, beneath the impasto layers of face paint and glitter, the melancholy clown peeks through, sacrificing himself for each and every audience. The fool Pierrot is a traditional and holy figure, and in performance, Taylor as Judy seemingly possesses a clairvoyant ability to see beyond the imposed boundaries of society, making him a gauge of the underpinnings of the culture at large. I personally think that Taylor lies closest to what the French deem la jeunesse abandonnée à la nature, the feral child, cast out by the civilized world into the wild, where he adapts to rule his surroundings. Since his arrival over 20 years ago, Taylor is a queer beauty in the wilds of New York City, building a community, a full society of queer compatriots, resurrecting the lost, resurrecting the oppressed and the forgotten. As he so eloquently states in a 24-decade history, Taylor is working with a community that is so often falling apart as it comes together. From his early political work, like The Face of Liberalism, his explorations of self in The Beast of Taylor Mac and The Young Ladies of, his war cry for community activism in Red Tide Blooming and Walk Across America for Mother Earth, and the grand pageantry of The Lily's Revenge and a 24-decade history of popular music. The work that Taylor has created over the past 2 decades is nothing short of remarkable. And there are so many pieces that I've left out, including his brilliant and generous work as a playwright, like in 2015's off-Broadway smash Here. Over the years, Taylor's Ridiculous Fool has matured into a sophisticated cultural mouthpiece. I believe that the development of Taylor as Fool can help us to better understand the legacy of the ridiculous theater as a reflection of our contemporary world. At its origin, the ridiculous broke down the walls of queer concealment through public performance, constituting a safe space that allowed for a freedom of expression without homophobic discrimination. For this reason, the ridiculous legacy has not been broadly accessible. It has been disseminated through internal and often exclusive channels of queer kinship. Taylor extends these channels by bringing his Fool Society to new locations and audiences all around the world, inviting a new generation of queers and queer allies into the joy and the freedom and the hope of the ridiculous tradition. For Taylor's bedazzled face not only works to translate and reflect the world around us, it becomes a mirror where we can begin to see better versions of ourselves. And before I close, a poem excerpted from Frank O'Hara for you, Taylor. Lines for the fortune cookies. I think you're wonderful, and so does everyone else. You will take a long trip, and you will be very happy. In the beginning, there was you, and there will always be you, I guess. You will write a great play, and it will run for 3 performances. Please phone the Village Voice immediately. They want to interview you. Your first volume of poetry will be published as soon as you finish it. You may be a hit uptown, but downtown you're legendary. Your walk has a musical quality which will bring you fame and fortune. You will eat cake. You think your life is like Pirandello, but it's really like O'Neill. That's not a run in your stockings, that's a hand on your leg. You should wear white more often, it becomes you. The next person to speak to you will have a very intriguing proposal to make. A lot of people in this room wish they were you. Now that the election's over, what are you going to do with yourself? You too could be Premier of France, if only. Taylor Mac, actor, singer, playwright, medium, goddess, dreamer, enfant terrible, fool, and my friend. Congratulations.
John Edgecombe. Oh. Beautiful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now I get to introduce somebody. I'm so excited. I can't even hold on a second. I need a moment. This person, this human being, this creature is so fantastic. He is a costume designer. What? What did I say? What? And he's a performance artist. And I remember when we were working on Lily's Revenge, I would come into the theater, young actor, I'm going to be early. And this person would be there already for the whole run. Never once stopped sewing sequins onto shit. Never, till the last performance. You know what I mean? Hot glue everywhere. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, please, please put your hands together for Machine Dazzle! Yes. Oh, perfect. I think that's as big as it gets. Whoa. It's not the first time I've said that.
That ping pong ball is a scratch and sniff joke. You scratch it, sniff it, and tell me where I've been hiding it. I'm just kidding. This is a song written by Taylor. Well, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Well, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Fear itself. Itself. Well, I'm afraid of fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. And I'm afraid of fearful people and violence from fearful people. And I'm afraid of politicians and ammunition and all religions. And I'm afraid of nationalism and patriotism and jingoism. And I'm afraid of all alone, all alone, all alone. Well, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Well, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Fear itself. Itself. Thank you.
Machine Dazzle! Oh my God. Do you see what I mean? Yes, work, girl. You gotta work those stairs. All right. Now, we have another speaker, wonderful speaker. I'm so excited. And I'm told that this person, in addition to being a student here, is also a ballesbian, which is a portmanteau of the words ballerina and lesbian, which is a new thing for me. And it's rare I run across a new thing, and I'm very excited. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Janet Werther.
This is making me feel claustrophobic. It's also a little warmer in here than it was when we tacked, so I'm just gonna strip down a little bit. You never knew that PhDs could be so sexy, I know. So, my first time seeing Taylor perform was also my first time seeing a live performance of an epic play by Brecht. It's one of my dirty little secrets that until I began this PhD, I hadn't seen that much theater. But you know, I think that everyone should be so lucky as to be introduced to the embodied dramaturgy of the Verfremdungseffekt. Did I get it right? By Taylor Mack. I wish I could have bottled up what it was like to experience Judy's presence on stage in Good Person of Sichuan. As a very pregnant businessman in a pinstriped suit with sparkling red lips and a dangling mustache. I would uncork that bottle and pour it over my students, anointing them with knowledge of Brecht's comic style and a fully corporeal understanding of what it means to commit as a performer, as an artist, to the absurd, the abject, the ridiculous, what it means to commit to play. I would also uncork that bottle for a quick sip whenever I needed a little pick-me-up, a shot of joy and hilarity. So pretty much every hour on the hour from now to the end of the next 3 weeks when the semester ends. Some of you know that the only other time I've spoken into a microphone about Taylor Mack, was to throw shade. Not at you, Taylor, but at Charles Isherwood for failing to mark a distinction between spectacular drag and transgender embodiment. Tonight, though, I'd like to speak briefly to the power of spectacular drag itself as the symbolic apex of camp and queer performance, a power that Taylor wields so well. In our current and dystopian political moment, I know that many of us are questioning or have questioned the efficacy of what we do. Theater, after all, cannot fix the water pipes in Flint, Michigan, or give safe passage across a restrictive border, or prevent nuclear holocaust. Not even Brecht's theater could topple fascist regimes. But theater, queer theater, does save lives. It has saved my own over and over again. A friend of a friend who's a playwright and performer once wrote on Facebook, quote, "High school theater clubs were the GSAs before there were GSAs." Obviously, this rings true. The space that theater makes for queerness of all kinds literally saves queer lives. In 2017, it remains a radical act to live boldly and unapologetically at the fringes of propriety, to choose radical nonconformity and to create home, family, and love with compassion and intention at the margins of society rather than accepting the terms of inclusion that the dominant culture offers. This is a political act. Taylor Mack is not merely an incredible and well-respected playwright, actor, and delicious drag queen. Judy is modeling possibilities. Not the possibility of being accepted or included, but the possibility of rejecting a world that rejects us and building our own with 100% more glitter. In Here, a play that I still struggle with and that still haunts me, he shows us the risk of trying to throw that glitter on top of a structurally flawed foundation or into one another's wounds. I come again to this word, compassion. Taylor's work models compassion for oneself, the ones we love, and even this flawed world of ours. Taylor Mack shows us what it might be like to commit to this queer world-making project, a project that Jose Munoz, may he rest in power, has reminded us is always still on the horizon, never yet arrived. And this hope that Taylor models, this opportunity to receive grand applause for the effort, this is the radical political possibility of queer theater. This is what saves lives. Taylor, we've never met before today, but I want to thank you for saving my life. And thank you for being my sister in arms in this great struggle, the struggle to make magic out of cardboard and colored lights, to build a queer future in the theater. We need you now more than ever. And I am so glad to have this opportunity to help honor you this evening. Congratulations.
Janet Werther. That was freaking cool. I'm so excited to bring up this next guest because I met this person working on The Lily's Revenge and was part of my family there and has continued to be a member of my family since then. She's a singer and a songwriter and a beast and a boss. I call her Mama, but you can call her Heather Christian.
Hello, hi. Janet just did a real good job saying words. I feel very similarly. I'm just gonna talk at you while I fix this. So I'm gonna be brief. Taylor. You changed my life. All right. I swear to God. All right, here we go. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we all sorrow with the poor. 'Tis a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis a song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty in music bright and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. And though their voices are silent, their pleading eyes will say, oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis a song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times
Christian! Okay, now I have to do some stagehand stuff, but can I do it and talk to you at the same time? I don't know. Oh, are you coming to help me? Look at you. Can you get that mic stand? We'll come over here. Woo! This is fun. So, our next guests are associated. Yeah, that's perfect. That one wants to be just. Oh, it is pretty low. Yeah, that's good. They're associated with the theater company Talking Band. Yes. And they worked with Taylor on The Lily's Revenge and his play Walk Across America for Mother Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Paul Zimmet and Ellen Matta.
Thank you. Well, it was our great pleasure to first meet and work with Taylor on The Lily's Revenge, where we also worked with Machine and Salty and Heather and Matt and other people who are out in the audience, David Drake and Una Sato and maybe some other people I don't even know who are here. And because that was such a great experience, we were eager to work with Taylor again. So Talking Band commissioned Taylor to write a play. And he said what he wanted to write about was a walk that he took when he was 18 years old. It was a walk that took 9 months and went from New York City to the nuclear test flats in Nevada. It was called the Walk Across America for Mother Earth. And on this walk, Taylor joined a whole group of political activists and anarchists and hippies and dykes and radical fairies and senior citizens and children. And they all made this epic journey, which ended up at the nuclear test site. When they got there, they were met by the Wackenhuts. That's actually was their name. They were, that's the private security firm that was guarding the flats. And many of them were arrested and put in a paddy wagon, but others persisted and made their way to the site.
Okay, so we're gonna do the last scene from the play, and we're going to try to play all the parts. So you have to. It might not work so well. We'll see. So in the back, there's a bunch of people in the paddy wagon singing. So we're going to sing for them, and then still walking towards the test site are Kelly, who was Taylor played Kelly, and then Angie. Well, I'm going to try to put this wig on while I talk about myself. Angie, who was played by Daphne Gaines. And also the other third person was a character named Biko, played by Viva DiConcini. And so at this moment, they're just walking in the very last few minutes of the play. So
Right.
Paul's going to play Kelly.
This was the wig he wore, made by Machine.
Angie's wig, and I'm going to try to put it on while we're talking, which is always questionable, but we'll see. You might have to talk among yourselves. Let's see. Let's see if I can get on. All right, one more. Bobby pin. I don't even know where to put it. All right. There, maybe it'll stay on. Okay.
We on?
Are
Okay.
we on? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Walking the paddy wagon, rocking 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 the paddy wagon. I'm leaving tomorrow. Probably won't see you for some time.
I tell you to write, but I don't know where I'm going.
Is that okay?
It's new. Kelly,
What?
what if we fail?
What if we fail the action?
I guess.
If we were winners, we wouldn't care about making things better.
Rockin' the paddy wagon. 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 Rockin' the paddy wagon.
What's that singing?
It's a protest song. Most everyone's been arrested, and the walkers have filled up the paddy wagons. Rockin' the paddy wagon. Rockin' the paddy wagon.
It's one of those songs that just keeps going on.
Rockin' the paddy wagon. And the ending is always a little defeat.
Protest songs
Wagon.
just peter out.
Rockin' the paddy wagon.
Angie,
Yeah,
it's not stupid what we're doing, is it?
maybe.
But it's not pointless.
No.
There are stakes, right?
Yes.
Real sorrow that should be addressed.
Yes.
Even if in all this mess you fail to address it,
When something is wrong, people should at least try to make it better.
even if they make things worse,
I think so.
because failure is just success biding its time.
Kelly,
Yeah?
what if decades go by
And nuclear bombs still exist,
and people are still being destroyed?
and peace never comes.
What then? Rockin' the paddy wagon. Rockin' the paddy wagon. Rockin' the paddy
They do
wagon.
sing beautifully.
Rockin' the paddy wagon.
Rockin' the paddy wagon.
Oh my God, yes. I'm gonna be doing that in my sleep, you know what I mean? Which I think maybe Taylor and all his friends were doing in their sleep, if they slept. Okay, these next two speakers, I don't really know too much about them except that they go to school here and that they're both very cute. So I hope I see you at the after party. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Donovan and Andrew Goldberg.
Hello, I'm Andrew Goldberg.
And I'm Ryan Donovan.
We're both students here in the Theater and Performance program. We're going to be talking about Taylor's 24-hour marathon performance, a 24-decade history of popular music. And I hate to do this, not to make you all insanely jealous, but
The evening before the marathon, the now infamous tape in which our current president was filmed saying he could grab women by the pussy was released. The next morning, along with a few hundred others, we arrived at St. Anne's Warehouse for Taylor's Radical Fairy Realness ritual. We were all buzzing about the news, naively assuming that Pussygate was the end. Taylor has spoken eloquently about the necessity of incorporating the calamity into the performance, and we wondered how Taylor and company would incorporate that calamity into this performance. Somewhere shortly before the marathon's end, and who can remember it was 24 hours long, Taylor told a story about his discomfort with the P word that culminated in a tale of a random hookup in a van on the side of the road in Provincetown that itself climaxed in Judy exclaiming, "My pussy's gonna change your life!" which somehow satisfied our collective need to hear the P word spoken by Judy.
As theater teachers of history, there are certain concepts that we teach dutifully year after year. Theater's origins and ritual, its ability to create community, the idea of catharsis, in short, the transformative power of theater. But it was only after the 24-hour show that these terms took on visceral meaning for us. For instance, at some point during the performance, perhaps during the 5th hour of sitting on the floor of St. Anne's Warehouse, I started thinking about the stone benches at Theater of Dionysus in ancient Athens on the 4th day of the Dionysia. But then I thought, no matter how tired or achy I felt, you couldn't bemoan your discomfort, because just think, there was Taylor, performing the whole time, singing, monologuing without notes the entire time, changing costumes every hour, entertaining us, while making pointed political commentary in this radical revisionist history of the United States. All we were doing was watching. Like a priest or shaman, Judy was sacrificing himself, voice, body, and soul for the community as a vessel to help dream the culture forward. Talk about your ritual origins of theater. That was my Taylor Mack impression.
Because of the demands and the duration of the show, a strange hallucinatory consciousness has become entwined with our memory of it. It was performed for 24 hours straight without a break. Taylor even took the microphone into the bathroom with him at one point as the show went on. And because of this, you could wander out into the lobby for a beverage or a snack, or take a bathroom break yourself, or go up to the balcony and take a little nap. But whenever you went back in, the show just kept going on, as if you had never left. It began to exist in its own temporal zone.
One of the questions we had when we were going in was, why does it need to be 24 hours? Does it really need to be seen all at once in one insanely demanding shot? Then as 3 a.m. turned into 4 a.m., despite the overflowing talent and creativity that was emanating from the stage, one began to enter a kind of altered state of consciousness. Am I really watching a blacklight, vocoder-inflected, kitschy sci-fi version of the Mikado right now?
Was that really a giant penis-shaped balloon emblazoned with the Puerto Rican flag that just flew overhead? And why didn't we get to touch it?
As an academic, why had I never thought deeply about the politics of lesbian fisting before?
Wouldn't we be getting more out of this if we were able to digest it in chunks, if our perceptual senses weren't letting us down? And as much as we were enjoying ourselves, we found ourselves still a little unsure of these questions heading into 8 a.m.
But then came the 1980s and the calamity of the AIDS epidemic. And we got it. We understood the brilliant dramaturgy of a 24-hour piece, 6 years in the making, and the almost unbearable sense of loss, as with each decade a musician departed the stage. For me, at least, the first 21 hours were all just preparation, a prologue to an 8th and final act in which the political became intensely personal. After the most emotionally gut-wrenching hour of performance I had ever experienced, and just when you were perhaps hoping for a queer version of Radiohead just to lighten things up or something, Taylor unexpectedly, but characteristically, performed an act of solidarity and empathy and opened up a trap in the stage floor out of which sprang a who's who of the downtown lesbian performance scene, armed with mimosas, hot dogs, and a George Foreman grill.
In the 23rd hour, devoted to radical lesbian singer-songwriters, Sarah Schulman took the stage to read from the Lesbian Avengers Dyke Manifesto. She might as well have been describing the marathon itself, as she read that the Avengers were, quote, a place where ideas are realized, where lesbians can have an impact. A crucial part of that is learning how to propose alternatives instead of just offering critiques. Be willing to put your body where your brain is, matter over mind, end quote. The literal matter over our minds was an enormous fabric vagina that had been suspended over the stage the entire time and from which streamers unfurled at one point, turning St. Anne's Warehouse into a womb. Yet in a way, it was also the enormous vagina in the room that nobody was talking about or noticing until it began its descent to the stage at the top of the 24th hour, when Judy stepped into its path and emerged out of it in a fabulous gold creation. The moment when the ceiling pussy blossomed into Judy's dress was not only the most thrilling coup de théâtre I've ever seen, but it was also a moment of true catharsis.
By the final act, the crushing, brutalizing, occasionally joyous, dense weight of history was not only in the room with us, it was felt in every fiber of our physical being. As the stage got sparer and sparer until we were left with just Taylor's exhausted body, like at the end of a marathon, you felt how hard, how heroic, how impossible it is, and yet not impossible because we were witnessing it. For one person to go up against 240 years of oppression, fight back, and for a moment at least, win.
I'm doing what I'm about to say. For a few weeks after the marathon, I became choked up every time I tried to talk about it to people. The 24 hours we shared awakened me to this experience of radical empathy, and it's gotten just not inside of my head, but really inside of my psyche in a way.
In fact, for weeks and now going on months, if I close my eyes, I can still project myself back into that room in St. Anne's, and the show is still going on right now. You too? On some level, it exists outside of time. And sometimes I wonder if Taylor is some kind of a time traveler, giving us the show before our national calamity in order to give us the tools we need to deal with the calamity.
In this way, the marathon itself was a direct action. As Taylor says, the 24-decade history was inspired by seeing the first AIDS walk in San Francisco as a youth and witnessing the direct action taken by a people to forge community as their community was simultaneously falling apart. This isn't a nostalgic act of remembering that experience, but rather the literal act of remembering, showing a community how to put its pieces back together. Taylor asks us, how can theater dream the culture forward? He exhorts us to incorporate the calamity and reminds us of theater's necessity as things are falling apart. And for giving us that and so much more, we salute you and we thank you. Thank you. And up next is our colleague from the Graduate Center, Cece Liu, who's going to perform an original song that she wrote for Taylor. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Cece Liu, graduate student here. I'm really excited to be performing for all of you.
Oh, I see. Wait a minute.
Oh.
There we go.
Okay,
All right,
awesome.
wait. Come this way. I'll move it. No, you stay.
Thank you.
It's theater. Wait, can you do that? Is that good?
Yeah, this is good. This is good. Can you hear me? I'm really excited to be performing for you with my cheap ukulele. I got it for $3.99. I'm telling you, it's worth every cent. I've never played this thing my entire life, and this is my debut performance, I guess. It's in honor of Taylor, of course. And this song I wrote to dedicate to all of us who share Judy's visions and ideals. And because this is a really simple song, I would like you to join me when we reach the latter half of the second refrain. I'll say, let's sing together. The world was so dull before you came along and dropped truths with your razzle-dazzle song. Oppression, homophobia, patriarchal heteronormativity, political hardball, nationalism, jingoism. You say, fuck it all. The world was so dull before you became an outcast, bidding farewell to the civilized and rule the wilds at last, coating trash with glitter, turning egos into litter, from cookie plays, mermaid to a fool. Here comes Judy and Judas bedazzlement. Here comes Judy and Judy's clairvoyance. Here comes Judy and Judy's queer U.S. history. Here comes Judy and Judy's community. The world was so dull before you became Judy, breaking boundaries of society with your never-failing notoriety. Others abandoned became your art. We come together as the world falls apart. Judy points the world, the end of American empire. Here comes Judy and Judy's community. Here comes Judy and Judy's ridiculosity. Here comes Judy. Here comes Judy. Let's sing together. Here comes Judy. Here comes Judy. Here comes Judy and Judy's society of fools. The world was so dull before. Here comes Judy.
Yes! Oh my God. Sissy, oh my God. That was amazing. All right, now, Taylor met a remarkable, oh yes, thank you so much. You're wonderful. Taylor met a remarkable actress, singer, songwriter at Sundance. And her name is Crystal Lucas Perry. And Taylor and Crystal are gonna come up and sing a song for you now. Featuring Matt Ray, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a Stephen Foster song, which was the other one. The one Heather did was a Stephen Foster song, which is ironic because we hate Stephen Foster. But Crystal and I sang this in the 24 decade, and I love crystals, so I wanted to sing it again.
I would not die in springtime when all is bright around and fair flowers are peeping out from the silent ground. Ooh, when life is on the water and joy on the shore, for winter, gloomy winter, will rain or us no more.
I would not die in summer when music's on the breeze and soft, delicious murmurs are floating through the trees. When fairy birds are singing from morn to close of day, knowing its transient glories, I would not pass away.
When breezes leave the mountain, it's balmy sweet, oh, to breathe within the fountain and find our vows no more. When summer flowers are lying within the lonely glen, and autumn winds are sighing, I would not perish then.
Let me die in winter
When night is dark above and cold the snow is lying on the cities that we love. And may the wind at midnight that bloweth from the sea chant mildly, softly, sweetly, a requiem for me. Chant mildly, softly, sweetly, a requiem for me.
Mr. Lucas Harry and Matt Ray.
Taylor Matt Ray. You stay. You stay. Oh my God.
We're gonna have an academic talk now. It's not my first time. I feel like I have to. Where's the podium?
Oh,
I have
it's
to
red?
get some lipstick on the podium. All right, now I feel better.
All right, and let me grab you a microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, but please, let me introduce to you the director of the Segal Center and a member of the faculty here, Mr. Frank Hentschker.
It's so tan in here. So tan.
So how are you all doing, as they say in the in academic talks? Taylor, First of all, thank you for being here, coming, and how does it feel having all these people sing for you?
It's so embarrassing, but it's so beautiful. I mean, you know, everyone's so talented, and I didn't. What I always say is I didn't come out the womb with eyelash glue, you know, on. So this is a result, and the content and the ideas, it's a result of a combination of autodidacticism, or whatever that word is, which I should autodidact what autodidacticism, how to say it. But it's a combination of that, and also just spending a lot of time with a lot of really talented people. So, you know, it's a little silly to have me be the representation of a community, but I'm happy because it's very rare that you get to sit in a room and have an entire audience sing "Here Comes Judy" at you. You know. So there you go. That's it in a nutshell.
That's great. So, Taylor, why do you sing?
I guess I've never really considered that. Well, no, I suppose I have. I sing because I'm an expressive person. I sing because singing is not subtle. You can sing in a subtle way, but it's ultimately not a subtle thing to do. And I don't believe in the Puritan dominance of expression. So I think that subtlety is a privilege, and I want to live in a world where people are allowed to be the full range of who they are, and singing helps you get there. Yeah.
I mean, the word activist also came up, and community, and so what are your ethics? What is your work, your performance? What do you think is the center of it? What is in it?
Well, big question. I used to say that what I'm interested in is homogeneity and heterogeneity. I grew up in a place where everything had to be one way, and nothing was. But the social dictate of trying to get everything to be one way caused a lot of problems. And so I have been making work that is trying to be a seditious act. It may be inspiring you against a government or a policy or a corporation or a social dictate, but it's primarily, I'm trying to inspire you to rebel against an obstinate sense of self. So that you can, express a much larger range of who you are, and you can give that to the world. And so I guess that's really what I guess that's a core value that I have, is trying to figure out how to incorporate a little bit more doubt in the world, and consideration. What I mean by doubt is consideration. And I guess I'm still there. That's what I've always said. And recently, what I've been thinking is that I want to make not just work that is a comment on the world or an exploration of what has happened or a wish for what could happen, but actually is the thing itself. So it is the action and the call for action. And the action and the call for action is something that is ethical, instead of a lot of work that we see in the world is a call to action, but isn't the action itself, because it's not created. It might be a call for equality, but it's created in a system that is rank with inequality. So it's, and then the vice versa. There's a lot of things that are the action themselves, and I think of I'm going to get shit for this, but I think of Andy Warhol's Factory as the action itself. It is subversiveness, and they were the action, but they were not a call to action because they didn't really want you to join them, So, so I'm interested in work that is the action and the call to action, and that the work has to be something that is ethical, because you can take something. I won't say it. I'm not going to say it out loud.
Please do. We're just among friends.
Oh, I'm going to get shit. The American theater's going to hate me. You can take something like Hamilton, which is gorgeous and doing many wonderful, beautiful things, but there is kind of a thing at the center of it, which is celebrating capitalism. And so is that ethical? Is the question that I have. I have doubt about my question. I'm not totally like, yes, it's unethical, but I have suspicion that it is unethical. And so something like that is so beautifully done and so well written and so polished, and it can sometimes convince you that it is ethical because it's so fucking good. But it's actually maybe not ethical. So I'm interested in trying to figure out, I guess the thing is, like, are you willing to dig deeper into your considerations and get muddy? Because you have to get muddy if you're gonna go deep. And if everything is clean, maybe you're not going deep enough, But there's room for it all. There's room for it all.
When you dig, when you go in the mud, what do you look for? When do you know this is something I would like to do? How the ethics are right, the aesthetics are right, and you're right. I never have the feeling you want to try to sell me something or I have to buy something.
Oh, good.
Or that I'm part of something very exciting. That I paid so much for that it has to be good.
Well, people did pay a lot for the 24 decade, but it was 24 hours long.
Yes.
And we did have subsidized, we had a lot of subsidized tickets, and it was cheaper than Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
Like half as cheap, so, so whatever, but
yeah,
yes.
So how do you dig, how do you search the archaeology, the temporality, what do you look for? When do you know you found something? We heard of all your projects today.
Well, I think it's the old saying, if it makes you nervous, it's worth doing. So I think that's, at least it's worth exploring. It's worth, I don't always know I found something because I'm not, I just keep digging. Like that's the hope, is that you're not presenting an epiphany or something that can be repeated night after night after night exactly the same way, like an assembly line, but that you go and you perform, and then the next night you perform a little deeper, and the next night you perform a little deeper, and the next night maybe you were a little shallow. And you say, oh shit, we got shallow again. Let's go a little deeper. And so it's a process. I've been saying recently that I'm a big fan of authority. Not I have power over you authority, but I have an authority of subject. And I'm a fan of that, I think, because people who have real authority of subject, they get it by incorporating doubt into their considerations. And the minute you decide, then you lose your authority. So you constantly have to be asking and questioning and doubting and wondering. The 24th decade was so much about keeping the possibility of wonderment alive in our bodies, and working on techniques and practicing techniques with the audience, and how to keep the wonderment of possibilities alive when you're at your worst. So that's really what I'm focusing on right now, and that's what I do. I can't say I ever hit gold, but I hit a water pipe ever so often. You know?
So let's talk about the 24th decade. When it's a 6-year project, as we heard, when did it come to you? How did you come to that vision, that idea to do it, and how did you create it? How did you shape it?
Many people probably know who were there, but or have seen part of it, because I always tell this story. So I'll try to keep it a little short. But when I was 14 or 15, I went to the very first AIDS walk in San Francisco, and it was the first time I'd ever seen an out homosexual before. And the first time I saw an out homosexual, it was thousands all at the same time. And they were building themselves as a result of being torn apart, and that kind of sunk into me a bit for my whole life since then. And with Lily's Revenge, I touched on it a little bit, but I made the show, and then I realized that it's what I was doing was trying to make a metaphorical representation of that. So after the Lily was over, I said, well, why don't I do it consciously this time? And so so I wanted to make a metaphorical representation of what does it mean to build a community as a result of that community being torn apart. So that was the impetus.
Yeah, and so how do you shape it then? You have a lot of people saw that not everybody created such a great piece of art out of it as you did. But once you say you have the idea, it's going to be 24 hours. How do you work it dramaturgically? For example, do you collaborate? Is it by performing it? Do you with your producer? I know Linda also came at that time later on the Pomegranate, which helped a lot to put out. But how do you work? How do you shape it?
We kind of worked, in hindsight, we worked a little bit like the Japanese no theater, where everyone learns their parts and does their part pretty much separately, and then you get together and you rehearse really quickly, but pretty much there's no rehearsal, and you just go in front of the audience and you do it. And then you do that over and over and over and over and over and over again, and eventually you make something. That's it's a thrilling and exciting way to make something, because it's alive, and part of the art of this particular work was to make it with the audience, to build the community over, I say it's a 6-year performance, and we're continuing to perform it, so ultimately it's probably going to be a 8 to 10-year performance that we're not just a 24-hour performance. So it's very different than most plays. They treat the art as the tangible thing, so that here is the script. Now you can go and do it all over America. The script, the art is tangible. And the audience's experience of the art is ephemeral. And then we kind of flip that, where the art is ephemeral, because there is a script, but nobody else can do it but us, and we're not going to pass it around to people to do it. So there is a limit to it. So it is ephemeral, but the audience's experience is more tangible, because we make them do so much stuff, and because we do it with them over the course of many years, they start building relationships with each other as a result of coming to the shows. So it's a different way of looking at. It's not. We're not. This is. I didn't come up with this way of working. That it's Commedia used to work this way. So it's not too different from forms in the past. But it's not how most theater artists work today, and which is why it's a little confusing to label it a play or a performance art concert or a this or a that, or a what is it?
How do you label it? How do you like to call it?
I call it whatever's going to give me the money to put it on. maybe that's a little cheeky, but I call it a radical fairy realness ritual. And one of the reasons I do that is because we got this Kennedy Award, and the Kennedys came, and Ted Kennedy Jr. stood up, and he had to say the full title of the show in his Kennedy accent. And he's a straight guy, he's a great guy, but he's a straight guy. And he's like, a 25-year history of popular music, a radical fairy realness ritual. So the title is also the action, is the call to action.
We heard a bit about the ridiculous theater, but who really influenced, who formed you, where you feel this were really my greatest influences that I looked up to and they kind of inspired you to do your work?
This is sacrilege, and Sean's going to hate me for this, but everyone always wants it to be Jack Smith, but it's not Jack Smith. I'm sorry. But Ludlum is in there. I would say Ethel Eichelberger a bit more, just because Ethel was a playwright and a queen, and I'm not that Charles Ludlum wasn't, but I just kind of, I get Ethel. When I see Ethel's stuff, I'm like, oh yeah. But really, Molière, the Greeks, Euripides. I don't want to just say the people that are dead, so it's fancy and safe. But also, Elizabeth Swados was a mentor of mine. This man, Michael Warren Powell, he was a mentor of mine. He was Lamford Wilson's lover, and Lamford, helped me out a few times, and that whole world of the Circle Repertory Lab, they really, it's odd to think me, Circle Repertory Lab, but that it did give me a solid foundation at a time when I didn't have access to institution. They were generous, and then people like Morgan Jeunesse, who's my heart, and my friend Nina Mankin, who I think is here. The people with generous love and excitement for oddity, and who recognize that you're not you don't necessarily have access, and so here, let me just point you in the right direction. And so those are the people who have meant the most to me in my life and really inspired me the most.
There's such important mentors. So we have one more question. So my last question, which actually was my last question, which I was just thinking is, as a future project, or if you had, Linda or St. Dan's or BAM or Kennedy's, and say you can do what you want, what is something would you say, this is something I would like to do, something that you would dream of, or what do you think about? Is there something we...
Well, I've got 3 new projects. One is kind of a sequel to Titus Andronicus.
With the survivors?
Yeah, I wanna start the play with a bloody banquet, the mess of the banquet, and then the play is about all the people that have to come and clean up the fucking banquet. And then at a certain point, I want a wall to crash in, and for the wedding of Much Ado About Nothing to crash into this space. And then for the DNC balloons to fall from the ceiling. And they just keep having to pick up that shit, So that's one project. Another project is my play Prosperous Fools, which is a dance theater work that is a play that has a 30-minute ballet at the top of Act 2, but it needs to be done in a theater like BAM. It's massive, and it needs 40 ballet dancers and orchestra and all this stuff. So whatever, we'll see if that happens. And then another thing I want to work on. I'm doing a music theater adaptation of The Apology, just because I want to play Socrates. And then, but the thing that I'm almost the most excited about is a movement tone poem that consists of nothing but entrances and exits performed by an ensemble of 50 clowns.
Well, this is really a lot we have to look forward to. And again, I would like to to say what he said, how significant that really is, that the call to action really has to be also the action itself. And I think this is something that theater, has to learn to update, like in visual arts, to really, really think about this also for our lives and what we do.
And not just in the form of the work, but in the form of how the work is made.
How it's produced and how it is coming. The outcome will also be different if it's produced the way you did it. So Taylor Mack, so thank you so much.
What happens now?
Taylor, stay there. On behalf of the Doctoral...
Wait a minute. Hello? I'm the Lily from your play, The Lily's Revenge by Taylor Mack. And I see that you're getting an award tonight. Ooh, an award. You know what? You know what, Taylor? I helped you win that award. Yes, I did. And I think I should get an award, too. It's not fair, Taylor. If this is going to be your story, I'm not going to let it be your story. Now it's my story. End of story. Period. Exclamation point. Curtain falls. Applause. Curtain rises. Oh, curtain rise. Lights resume. Applause. Bow. Curtain falls. Applause. Curtain rises. Standing ovation. Oh, flowers are thrown. For me, a simple lily. Flowers. Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, thank you. Humility. Thank you. Point to a person you pretend to know. Oh, thank you. Applause. Cheers, brava. Thank you. Curtain falls. Encore. Applause. Curtain rises. Stamping feet. Give us more. Hold up a hand. Insist on their calm. No, calm. Give us more. Hold up a finger. All right, if you insist, I'll do one more. Gratitude. Applause. Quiet. Calm. Silence. A pin could drop, but who would dare to drop it? Encore. Exclamation point. Period. End of story. Curtain falls. Riotous roar. Applause. Curtain rises again. Oh, bow. Arms full of flowers. Oh, nod head. Wipe a tear away. Show them the tear on your finger. Oh, turn. Exit. Curtain falls. Now, backstage crew applauding. Supporting cast applauding. Old man Joe, who's been pulling the curtain for 80 years. Tired old man Joe, he's been working since he was a little boy, yeah? During the Depression, just trying to make enough money to take home to his sister and his mother so they could eat a little something, a piece of bread, and at Christmas, a potato. Old man Joe, who's seen over 30,000 performances in this theater. Hardened, calloused hand. Old man Joe is weeping. Oh, Lily, that was the greatest performance this theater has ever seen. Oh, Joe, you don't know what that means. Applause, 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 applause. Walk backwards, applause, thank you, applause. Walk, find the railing, thank you. Descend the stairs, thank you. Open the dressing room door. Oh, applause, thank you, applause. Gently close dressing room door. Muffled excitement from outside the door. Sanctuary. A moment to oneself. Put down the flowers. Exhale. Sit in front of the makeup mirror. Look at yourself. Melancholy. A deep sorrow. Alone. Did that just happen? And what does it all mean? And who cares if you're always alone? A knock at the door, your agent. Oh, Lily, you are marvelous tonight. Feign humility, don't be greedy, ask her about herself. Oh, the knock at the door, the producers. Oh, Lily, you were magnificent tonight. I'd like you to meet insert famous person. Oh, there, I saw your last picture. Oh, it's nothing to what you do, a real star. Oh, no. Oh, darling, don't forget your fans. You must get there out in the cold. Yes, of course. A fur, nothing but a slip-on underneath. Pen in hand, to the stage door. Applause. Screaming. Somebody faints. Sign. Underline signature. Exclamation point. We love you. You're not the only winner here, Taylor Mack. I'm a winner, too. All right, give him a damn thing.
Taylor, in
Ladies and gentlemen, Tigger!
Taylor, on behalf of the Doctoral Theatre Students Association of the Graduate Center of the City University of New York, we are over the moon in giving you the 2017 Edwin Booth Award.
Am I supposed to say something? I just want to thank Tigger for, I've been stressed out about being, praise and blame are exhausting. They really are. And all you need is a little send up of it all to make it okay. Performance art heals everything. I was gonna sing a song and I'm not going to. I know. Come to a show. Somebody Google on their phone Crossing Brooklyn Bridge by Walt Whitman. Let's do that instead. I've never performed this poem before, but, so it's new. But yeah, somebody do it. Who's doing it? Everybody do it all at the same time, and then whoever does it first, give it to me. There's no service? Somebody has service? Incorporate the calamity. Oh, they got it. I knew it. Is it gonna go to sleep on me? All right, I'll keep moving it like this. All right. I read this for the first time because we did the Walt Whitman decade, but we were focusing on the decade that the first edition of Leaves of Grass, and this was not in the first edition, so I didn't read it at the time, and I just started to read the rest of Leaves of Grass, and I read this the other day, and it says everything I want to say about being a New Yorker and being in lineage. I'll say this before I read it. I first came to New York for the wonderful dichotomy of Broadway and bohemianism. And it didn't survive that long. That thing, I got here and it kind of wasn't really here anymore. And I realized after about 10 years of being here that what I was doing is I was trying to get something from New York. And when I decided to try to make New York a better place, that's when the art got good. So this is Crossing Brooklyn Ferry by Walt Whitman. Flood tide below me, I see you face to face. Clouds of the west, sun there, half an hour high, I see you also face to face. Crowds of men and women attired in the usual costumes. How curious you are to me. On the ferry boats, the hundreds and hundreds that cross returning home are more curious to me than you suppose. That's true. And you that shall cross from shore to shore years hence are more to me and more in my meditations than you might suppose. the impalpable sustenance of me from all things at all hours of the day, the simple, compact, well-joined scheme. Myself disintegrated, everyone disintegrated, yet part of the scheme. Similitudes of the past and those of the future, the glorious strung like beads on my smallest sights and hearings, on the walk in the street and the passage over the river, the current rushing so swiftly and swimming with me far away, the others that are to follow me, the ties between me and them, the certainty of others, the life, love, sight, hearing of others. Others will enter the gates of the ferry and cross from shore to shore. Others will watch the sun, the run of the flood tide. Others will see the shipping of Manhattan north and west, and the heights of Brooklyn to the south and east. 50 years hence, others will see them as they cross, the sun half an hour high. 100 years hence, or ever so many 100 years hence, others will see them. Will enjoy the sunset, the pouring in of the flood tide, the falling back to the sea of the ebb tide, and maybe even a little higher than he expected. It avails not, time nor place, distance avails not. I am with you, you men and women of generations, or ever so many generations hence, just as you feel when you look on the river and sky, so I felt. Just as any of you is one of a living crowd, I was one of a crowd. Just as you are refreshed by the gladness of the river and the bright flow, I was refreshed. Just as you stand and lean on the rail, yet hurry with the swift current, I stood yet was hurried. Just as you look on the numberless masts of ships and the thick stemmed pipes of the steamboats, I looked. I, too, many and many a time crossed the river of old, watched the 12th month seagulls, saw them high in the air floating with motionless wings, oscillating their bodies, saw how the glistening yellow lit up parts of their bodies and left the rest in strong shadow, saw the slow wheeling circles and the gradual edging towards the south, saw the reflection of the summer sky in the water, had my eyes dazzled by the shimmering track of beams, looked at the fine centrifugal spokes of light round the shape of my head in the sunlit water, looked on the haze on the hills southward and southwestward, looked on the vapor as it flew in fleeces tinged with violet, looked towards the lower bay to notice the vessels arriving, saw their approach, saw aboard those that were near me, saw the white sails of schooners and sloops, saw the ships at anchor, the sailors. At work in the rigging or out astride the spars, the round mast, the swinging motion of the hulls, the slender serpentine pennants, the large and small steamers in motion, the pilots in their pilot houses, the white wake left by the passage, the quick, tremulous whirl of the wheels, the flags of all nations, the falling of them at sunset, the scallop-edged waves in the twilight, the ladled cups, the frolicsome crescent glistening, the stretch afar growing dimmer and dimmer, the gray walls of the granite storehouses by the docks. On the river, the shadowy group, the big steam tug, closely flanked on each side by the barges, the hayboat, the belated lighter. On the neighboring shore, the fires from the foundry chimneys burning high and glaringly into the night, casting their flicker of black contrasted with wild red and yellow light over the tops and houses and down into the clefts of streets. Don't worry, just 25 more pages. Because what women like me likes to make something go on a little bit longer than it should. These and all else were to me the same as they are to you. I loved well those cities, loved well the stately and rapid river. The men and women I saw were all near me. Others the same, others who look back on me because I looked forward to them. The time will come No, I stop here today and tonight. What is it then between us? What is the count of the scores or hundreds of years between us? Whatever it is avails not, distance avails not, and place avails not. I too lived. Brooklyn of ample hills was mine. I too walked the streets of Manhattan Island and bathed in the waters around it. I too felt the curious, abrupt questioning stir within me. The questioning stir within me. In the day, among crowds of people, sometimes they came upon me. In my walks home late at night, or as I lay in my bed, they came upon me. And all the academics are saying, no, that's not really came. No! They came upon him. You think no one came on Walt Whitman? I too had been struck from the float forever held in solution. Ooh, I too had been struck from the float forever held in solution. I too had received identity by my body. That I knew I was of my body, and what I should be, I knew I should be of my body. It is not upon you alone the dark patches fall. It is not upon you alone the dark patches fall, indulgent children. The dark threw its patches down upon me also. He's saying, I had shit happen to me also. The best I had done seemed to me blank and suspicious. The best I had done seemed to me blank and suspicious. My great thoughts, as I suppose them, were they not in really meager? Nor is it you alone who know what it is to be evil. I am he who knew what it was to be evil. I too knitted the old knot of contrariety. Blabbed, blushed, resented, lied, stole, grudged, had guile, anger, lust, hot wishes I dared not speak, was wayward, vain, greedy, shallow, sly, cowardly, malignant. The wolf, the snake, the hog, not wanting in me. The cheating look, the frivolous word, the adulterous wish, not wanting. Refusals, hates, postponements, meanness, laziness, none of these wanting. Was one with the rest, the days and haps of the rest, was called by my nighest name by clear, loud voices of young men as they saw me approaching or passing. Whew. Felt their arms on my neck as I stood, or the negligent leaning of their flesh against me as I sat, the negligent leaning. Saw many I loved in the street or ferry boat or the public assembly, yet never told them a word. Lived the same life with the rest, the same old laughing, gnawing, sleeping. Played the part that still looks back on the actor or actress. The same old role, the role that is what we make it, as great as we like, or as small as we like, or both great and small. Closer yet I approach you. What thought you have of me now, I had as much of you. I laid in my stores in advance. I considered long and seriously of you before you were born. Who was to know what should come home to me? Who knows what I am enjoying this? Who knows? For all the distance, but I am as good as looking at you now. For all you cannot see me. What can ever be more stately and admirable to me than mast-hemmed Manhattan? River and sunset and scalloped-edged waves of flood tide. The seagulls oscillating their bodies, the hayboat in the twilight, and the belated lighter. What gods can exceed these that clasp me by the hand, and with voices I love call me promptly and loudly by my nighest name as I approach? What is more subtle than this which ties me to the women or man that looks in my face, which fuses me into you now and pours my meaning into you? We understand then, do we not, what I promised without mentioning it? Have you not accepted what the study could not teach, what the preaching could not accomplish, is accomplished, is it not? Flow on, river! Flow with the flood tide and ebb with the ebb tide. Frolic on, crested and scallop-shaped waves. Gorgeous clouds of the sunset, drench with your splendor me, or the men and women generations after me. Cross from shore to shore, countless crowds of passengers. Stand up, tall mass of Manhattan. Stand up, beautiful hills of Brooklyn. Throb, baffled and curious brain. Throw out questions and answers. Suspend here and everywhere, eternal float of solution. Gaze loving and thirsting eyes in the house or street or public assembly. Sound out, voices of young men. Loudly and musically call me by my nighest name. Live old life, play the part that looks back on the actor or actress. Play the old role, the role that is great or small, according as one makes it. Consider you who pursue me, whether I may not in unknown ways be looking upon you. Be firm, rail over the river, to support those who lean idly, yet haste with the hasting current. Fly on, seabirds, fly sideways or wheel in the large circles high in the air. Receive the summer sky, you water, and faithfully hold it till all downcast eyes have time to take it from you. Diverge fine spokes of light from the shape of my head or anyone's head in the sunlit water. Come on, ships from the lower bay passed up or down, white-sailed schooners, sloops, lighters, flaunt away, flags of all nations be dully lowered at sunset. Burn high your fires, foundry chimneys, cast black shadows at nightfall, cast red and yellow light over the tops of the houses. Appearances now or henceforth indicate what you are. That means if you wear your jeans and your t-shirts, that's what you are. If you wear your clothes from H&M, you're H&M. You necessary film continue to envelop the soul. About my body for me and your body for you be hung out divinest aromas. You're gonna miss it, bitch. Just 12 more pages to go. No, this is actually it right here. Thrive cities, bring your freight, bring your shows, ample and sufficient rivers, expand, being than which none else is perhaps more spiritual. Keep your places, objects than which none else is more lasting. You have waited. You always wait. You dumb, beautiful ministers. We receive you with free sense at last and are insatiate henceforward. Not you anymore shall be able to foil us or withhold yourselves from us. We use you and do not cast you aside. We plant you permanently within us. We fathom you not. We love you. There is perfection in you also. You furnish your parts towards eternity, great or small. You furnish your parts towards the soul.
Thank you all so much for coming. Congratulations, Taylor, and thank you for your extraordinary contribution to theater and performance in New York City. And we'll see you next year at the 2018 Edwin Booth Award. But thank you so much, everybody.